The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.
We're so honored to have back on international fingerstyle guitarist, composer, arranger. It's been a few years since we had him on the show, but Mike Dawes is back on. Mike, it's great to see you.
It's so good to see you again. Yeah, it's been like 6 years or something.
I feel like you've traveled the world like 50 times since I saw you last.
Something like that. There's a lot of air miles, for sure. Yeah, a lot of air miles, a lot of excess baggage fees, things like that. But it's great to be back in Nashville and awesome to see you again.
I'll tell you what, it is so amazing with your body of work and everything. We were talking about, on Rick Beato's show and everything else you've been doing and tours with Tommy Emmanuel. But I got to talk about your brand new album that came out, Galactic Acid, and it's on amazing vinyl, incredible artwork.
Who's that handsome man?
Look at that handsome man with
So
a beautiful
handsome.
guitar. It's like, and I told you, I was listening to the tracks, and what I always enjoy about you, Mike, is that, an organic approach. You know what I mean? You don't just, you're not doing covers, you're not doing, you always give it your own interpretation, and I think that obviously has to take more time when you're doing something like Jump.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, it's this crazy thing, isn't it? Interpreting like a legendary song like Eddie Van Halen, Jump, things like that, which is on the record.
Which is bold.
Yeah, it is. That came out of, these covers and these songs, these originals, everything comes from a different kind of source of inspiration. And obviously when Eddie Van Halen passed away, it was during the pandemic, and this was during a time where, I hadn't actually played guitar for 8 months. Everything was so bad, all the tours were shut down. We all remember how that was. Like I was stuck in England in my house. I couldn't go anywhere, do anything. And when Eddie passed, it just really hit me in a profound way. Like, every guitar player around the planet felt that.
Oh, totally.
And that was, through a strange emotional circumstance, I just jumped straight for the guitar, and that's what came out, and I released it as a thing, and I think Wolfgang actually reached out via Instagram with a little heart emoji. I'll always remember that, because obviously that's not that I'm looking for any kind of compliments for something like that. It was just a heartfelt tribute in the moment, but to have something like that coming from him, and he must have an unfathomable personal connection to that body of work. So that meant a lot. So yeah, I'm thrilled that it's finally on the record along with some other stuff as well.
Well, and along with some other stuff, it wasn't enough to go ahead and do something with Eddie Van Halen. Why not Jimi Hendrix? And I thought of I thought of all the tracks, with All Along the Watchtower, and certainly a song I've played a lot too, or butchered a lot. And it's like,
Same,
but it's like a brooding interpretation on acoustic guitar like you did with this, and I love it.
Oh, thanks, man. That means a lot, man. Yeah, that was another one. I was listening to a lot of Michael Hedges during the pandemic as well. Huge guitar inspiration. The two legends in my world are Tommy and Michael Hedges, and obviously Michael Hedges being no longer with us, he famously covered All Along the Watchtower in this really awesome tuning. He did a kind of singer-songwriter style, a wacka-wacka kind of style, and it was this awesome tuning, D-A-E-E-A-A. So by having these sets of duplicate strings on the guitar, E, E, and A, it kind of had this trick effect of almost making it sound like a 12-string, or making it sound like a chorus. So I kind of did this instrumental interpretation of that interpretation. I always introduce it live as saying, this is my version of a Michael Hedges version of a Jimi Hendrix version of a Bob Dylan song. And I flew to Iceland to record the video for it. So there's a really cool video online that we shot on this black sand beach in a town called Vik in Iceland, V-I-K, and I played under a waterfall, and the guitar got soaked.
Oh my gosh.
The guitar maker was not happy with me at all. But I flew to Germany.
Humidification is good, not that much.
Not under an Icelandic waterfall, it turns out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it sounds very Viking-like.
Very Viking, very epic. And we tried to capture that in the immense amounts of reverb on the song and some of the other tunes on the record as well, yeah.
Well, I think that's what's so great, though, Mike, too, with your songs, and I've been a fan since you really, hit the scene, and blew up on YouTube and the internet. But even like Goliath, we were talking before we came in studio, it's like it's so bassy and big, and and obviously using a baritone guitar on that.
Yeah, that's an interesting guitar. So this is the first time I've used an unusual kind of baritone guitar on record. This was a guitar made for me by an amazing UK luthier called Nick Benjamin. It's an experiment we made. We tried to make a fully sustainable semi-baritone guitar. So we made it all out of sustainable materials. So it's actually a maple guitar, which is interesting. Well, more so sustainable than others. But we put 2 banjo tuners on the top 2 strings for some interesting pedal steel-like sounds. Regular guitar tuners for the middle strings, the D and the G string, and then we actually have bass machine heads and bass strings and bass pickups on the bottom 2 strings. So we have this crazy song where...
What a Frankenstein.
Yeah, it's not quite a Frankenstrat, it's some kind of beastly baritone monstrosity. And that was the tune that came out of it. So it's a kind of mix of bass, guitar and kind of pedal steel with apocalyptic synths and things like that. I'll do a music video for it after this tour and hopefully put that on YouTube later
Well,
this year.
it's also fascinating to me that, you played, keyboards and synth and everything, but, you really got your first guitar at 12.
Yeah. 12 only to fit in because the cool kid had one. That was the reason of switching to guitar. But the guitar's an interesting instrument, as I'm sure everyone here knows. We're in basically the music belt of the USA right now. The guitar is on the piano. You press a button and you get a sound. But the guitar, it takes work. You have to use two hands. You have to fret and pick at the same time, and it's like a challenge. And that payoff when you get that first note, you wiggle the string a bit, you get your first vibrato. Dare I say, you get your first kind of bend. It changes everything, and it changed my world, and I went full on into the guitar nerdery with this record. Yeah.
Well, and you're such a master of it too, Mike, to where it's like, I know the last time we were hanging out here, we got done with the interview, and you were just playing out in front. We were hanging out under a tree because it was like a NAMM show, time, and you were here in Nashville, and it's just, you always are so passionate about it, and and being able to make the different sounds and all this and working the strings. And I was thinking before having you in the studio for the interview is that there's so many younger artists now emulating people like you and Tommy Emmanuel.
Oh man, well that's just the way it's been through history, isn't it? You've got Black Sabbath wouldn't exist without Robert Johnson, right? You know what I mean? It's the same thing. And nowadays, I guess because people absorb music on their mobile phones, which is something that only was just starting to come through when I started, we're so oversaturated with all this wonderful music from all over the world. It's really exciting to see where inspiration will go for the next generations, because we're not just going to be inspired by other music we're listening to. We're going to be inspired by things that we see, games that we play, all this high bandwidth stuff that we now have access to. So it's just a really exciting time to be in the music, in the music world, and I'm just excited to see what people do. And if anyone's inspired by anything that I do, then that's massively appreciated. I know that I'm massively inspired by the players that have come before me as well.
Well, and I've got to bring this up too. I got to brag on you because you won't. And you mentioned Tommy Emmanuel, like I mentioned my neighbor next door. But it's like, but you've traveled, you've toured the world with Tommy, and then besides that, with Justin Hayward with the Moody Blues and Christopher Cross.
Yeah, we did some shows with Christopher Cross as well. That was a Justin Hayward and Christopher Cross kind of co-bill. I was a little opener on that, but I also play guitar for Justin. I've played guitar for Justin Hayward, playing the Moody Blues hits for 11 years now. So
that's incredible. I mean, what a catalog.
Man, it's wild. So I still don't believe it. When I'm playing Nights in White Satin and he hits, and I love you really loud, and the lights hit and all the effects and production hits, and I see the audience, it's amazing. Last year, I had the opportunity to go to Athens, Greece with Justin to back him up playing with the Athens State Orchestra. And we played at the Odeon of, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, the Odeon of Herodes Atticus. It's where the Acropolis is. It's that legendary amphitheater.
I've seen it.
With a symphony orchestra. And they were doing the original scores of the Days of Future Past record, and we were playing this. And I've got this crazy Eastern Bloc in-ear monitor pack that's about this big. All I can hear in the moment is I can't really hear anything. I've got a string orchestra right behind me. It's bash bash go go go, and we're playing. And you look up, and there's a full moon. You see the Acropolis. You see Justin Hayward. The conductor is just having the time of his life because these scores are so legendary. And to have that kind of opportunity, my parents flew out for it, my girlfriend flew out for it. So, it's incredibly humbling and something that I'll forever be grateful for. I think that to have the opportunity to learn from one of the world's greatest songwriters in Justin Hayward and also one of the world's greatest guitar players, Tommy Emmanuel, is an opportunity that I'll forever be grateful for. And I can't speak highly of both of them as professionals, but as people as well.
Right. And also, I mean, it's so great also, Mike, to where you share and with your tutorials and teachings as well. But I got to bring this up too. As if that weren't enough, playing with the symphony and being out with Tommy and all these great artists, also, you happen to hang out with a heavy metal band.
Of course. Could you tell? Yeah, man. I mean,
I never would have guessed you.
Never would have guessed.
No, that you're opening up for, is it Periphery?
Yeah, Periphery, the progressive, heavy, technical metal band, and I went out on tour opening for them, playing the same material as I would with Justin Hayward.
Now, were you a little concerned? Because it's like,
No,
I'm saying that's not the usual acoustic appreciation audience.
Well,
hypothetically.
This isn't the usual acoustic guitar music. Right?
Very true.
Now, here's the thing. There's music fans gravitate towards all these different artists. Music fans love the Moody Blues. Music fans love Tommy, and music fans love Periphery.
Right.
They're not just playing these, kind of meathead radio rock guitar riffs. You know, they're playing really thought out music. It doesn't really matter about the genre. And if you're there on stage, kind of giving it your all and living on the edge and walking that tightrope, the audience will have a respect for you. But it was fun to play with them because every night we would do a surprise cover. So the singer came out, we wore silly sunglasses, and we would do a Backstreet Boys cover.
Oh my gosh,
just to mess with them. So you can imagine 3,000 bearded, hairy metalheads singing "I Want It That Way." Never ever gonna forget that. Good times.
You have an amazing life. And, you know, last time we were talking, we had it on the show too, Mike, we were talking about, you know, your teaching and everything that you've done and tutorials and written articles. And now you're doing a cool thing that I want you to talk about, gift boxes. Because, you know, you're under your own music label now. You know, you can do what you want, you can play what you can record what you want.
Yeah.
And now, as a way for people to learn your guitar parts and lessons and stuff, you're doing it a different way.
That's the thing. So nowadays, it's 2024. The power is with the creator. And if anyone out there is starting to get into music or worried about how to kind of navigate this crazy world, you can do everything yourself. And I think one of the great privileges of having these phones in our pocket is that we can connect with fans and we can make friendships with these people. And something that I've tried to do is keep everything in the family and keep everything. I don't work with Apple so much. I don't work with Jeff Bezos and Amazon and things like that. I do it all through my family. So what I mean by that is every vinyl that people buy, every tuition gift box, which contains like 9 hours of video lessons as to how to play all this stuff and all the techniques, they all get ordered from MikeDawes.com, right? Just DAWES.com. And what happens is it goes to my dad in a little village in the south of England called Cheddar, which is where they make the cheese, right? And he goes to the little village post office run by Steve and Sue. Shout out to Steve and Sue. And it all gets posted out directly, packaged up, you know, by my family, posted out by my friends. And there's something really beautiful for that. It's the same reason why websites like Bandcamp have had such success.
Right.
I think in a world where everything is accessible instantly, that human connection is something which takes work and I think can be appreciated on a different level. So I want to try and maintain that for as long as it is scalable. So yeah, the vinyl, the tuition gift boxes, which are little tiny guitars that turn into USB sticks, and you put it in, and I always say I pop out on your computer like the Microsoft paperclip.
Right, exactly.
Like the little Microsoft paperclip with the little eyes. How can I help you learn guitar? It all just comes from the little village in England, gets sent all around the world, and that's just, I think it's a really wonderful thing in 2024 to try and, in such a big, scary world, to try and keep that human connection for as long as possible. So.
Well, and obviously your fans love it too, because I mean, you know, they come out, you know, they want to see you live, they want to meet you, you know, the meet and greets and everything else you've done. I mean, it just seems like the only thing you've had to do is really up your level of caffeine to keep all this going.
I just finished a coffee before coming in here. It's true, caffeine is definitely essential.
Is that the fuel?
It is the fuel, but it's also just the energy. I was saying last night, I had a show in Decatur, in Georgia. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Decatur.
Yes, sir.
And it was a sold-out show. Thank you very much. Never been there before. I had my friend Trevor Gordon Hall, who's just off camera, open up, amazing guitar player. And I was feeling really low, man. It was, I did Rick Beato interview in the morning.
Right.
I'd just been on the road a long time. I was in my own head about some personal stuff. But when you go out on stage, if the audience are going like, yeah, and they're screaming like a crazy loud group of hairy metal fans, that energy comes back. That is not something that I ever get from the online space. By doing the digital thing, the social media thing, it creates anxieties, it creates false comparisons, all that. But when you're in a room where the observable universe is just the people in that room, if you can make them happy and they give you that energy back, it's just a wonderfully fulfilling way to live. It's something that I'll always be grateful for, and it's something that I think more people should experience. So I think if you know, you're talking about the next generation of players who exist a lot on the internet, I think if people go out and really go on a tour and connect with their fans, it's just a wonderful, wonderful thing. And you know, the fans are so nice that sometimes they'll write to my website with a customer service inquiry, like, oh, my vinyl arrived and you know, the post office had bent it or something like that. And they'll write an angry thing as if they were talking to some faceless AI. Then my dad responds, and then they write back like, oh, we're so sorry, everything's great.
Sorry,
really...
Mr. Dawes.
And no, but that's just a wonderful thing, because by showing people the humanity behind the music in a world where everything is accessible and trivial, I think it elevates people's kind of the joy they might get from it. That's what I hope anyway. I hope
it's much more organic. And it's just like the guitars you play, the Andreas Kuntz guitars, and I mean your G7th capos, Tonewoods that you've been
Tonewood
with.
Amp, that's the guys who brought me here first time, Tonewood Amp. Helene and Ofer, again, small family business in America, 2 people with their daughter Zoe. They made this amazing device called the Tonewood Amp, and there's actually an update coming for that soon, so keep an eye around NAMM next year. It goes on the back of your acoustic guitar, and reverb and delays come out of the sound hole. And I fell in love with this device. I wrote all of this album on my couch with that device. Right? It's an amazing writing tool, so shout out to them again.
And I always love your guitars.
Yeah, they're beautiful guitars.
Oh, my goodness.
Handmade in Germany. You can pick them up online. They're called Andreas Kuntz. Unfortunate spelling of the last name. I'll leave that up to you and your Googling.
But they should have like a Mike Dawes signature model too, right?
It is the Mike Dawes signature model. Yeah, yeah. There's a little sticker inside that says so, but we didn't want to mess with the headstock design itself. But you can buy that exact guitar with that pickup configuration.
And then people will sound exactly like you when they play it, right?
Guaranteed.
As long as they buy the little tutorial gift box.
Guaranteed, or else Eric will give you your money back.
And it comes out with the British accent also. Does that come with the guitar also?
It comes with something. It comes with my impression of a Valley Girl accent, which is the only one I know. I know I'm not going to.
Or if burly metal people are singing in sync with you.
That's it. That's it. That's it. I think NSYNC "Bye Bye Bye" would be the song. I think you can learn it now via the gift box.
Yeah, and look for it on a future viral video from Mike. Also, well, I want to make sure with the incredible album and everything, which I love every song on here, Mike. For our viewers, where should they go for website, for social media, for everything Mike Dawes?
And honestly, everything MikeDawes.com, MikeDawes.com. Everything ordered, be it music or tuition or tab, whatever, goes through my family and Steve and Sue at their little post office. But if you want to see me on the road, I'll be out in the US with Justin Hayward later this year. We're putting something together for early December, but then I'm going to be doing my first East Coast Galactic Acid headline tour, which we're putting together for early 2025. So I'll be playing loads of tunes from the record. I'll be hitting all down the East Coast, hopefully all the way down to Florida, we'll try, and then hopefully I'll be tucking into Tennessee again as well. But we got the City Winery tonight. I'm looking forward to that show, and that's going to be the last show of this particular tour. So
wow,
it's
and then more fun stuff with Tommy. Well, I'll tell you what, however you consume music, obviously you know Mike Dawes, you've listened to him, you've seen him on the internet, hopefully you've seen him live on tour and learned guitar from him also, but get your own copy of this incredible vinyl, Galactic Acid. You're going to love every song on here, just like I do, and it's just always a joy to have you in, Mike.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to see you again. I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Mike.
Take care.
The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.